Hello everyone, it's Wesley here, back with another video. So, as you have noted, I've been talking about different types of visas here in the UK. And today, we want to talk about a specific visa known as the Skilled Worker Visa. So, I have applied for this visa before and I was successful. And I thought I'd just share my thoughts on this visa, but also share the requirements for this visa for you if you want to apply for this visa. So, sometimes I do get people tell me, you know what, I want to apply for a visa so that I can come look for a job there in the UK, right? So they tell me, oh, for example, I'm studying, or I did accounting, I did ABCD. What I want to do is I want to get a visa, then I should come and look for a job in accounting when I get there. So I always say to say the thing that you have to do most of the times, or I should say all the times, is you should get a job first, then the visa comes later. Now, as I did a certain comparison in the student visa, I also do it here to say when you want to apply for a skilled worker visa, there are two entities involved. Now, the first entity is the one is where you'll be working, your employer, right? So you have the employer who will give you a job offer after you have done whatever, you have done interviews or whatever. Now they're saying they're satisfied and say, you know what, we'll give you this offer, right? Now, once you have done this, you have to make an application to the immigration, known as the Home Office, for you to apply for the visa. Now, these are two different entities, but they work together, right? Because what normally happens is once you have been given an offer, you are given what is known as the certificate of sponsorship. Most people just call it COS. So on this COS, there's a specific number that this number is communicated to the Home Office. That when you make the application, they'll say, "Oh yeah, we gave Wesley an offer. You can give him the visa." So these are two different entities, but they work hand in hand in terms of the visa application. So as I've just said, if you want to work here in the UK and you want to apply for the skilled worker visa, the first thing that you have to do is apply for a job. Then once you have applied for a job, once you have been given an offer, there you will have the COS that you will use to apply for a visa. Because you can't start the application for the visa, you can start the application, but the visa can't be successful if you don't have the COS number. So you need a COS number. So I'll share my screen in the next few seconds just to show you some of the requirements in terms of the visa, the skilled worker visa. So yeah, let me now share my screen and to share a little bit about um, the skilled worker visa, right? So how you guys doing? I'm always asking you how you guys doing, but anyway, so I hope you can see my screen. So today I'll share on skilled worker visa. You can simply Google. You can simply Google skilled worker visa, and it will bring you to the UK government website. So let's look at the overview to do with the skilled worker visa. So they're saying a skilled worker visa allows you. So they're saying a skilled worker visa allows you to come to or stay in the UK to do an eligible job with an approved employer. The visa has replaced the Tier 2 general work visa. It also allows you to work in UK waters. Now, let's look at the eligibility here. They're saying to qualify for a skilled worker visa, you must work for a UK employer that's been approved by the Home Office. Remember, I talked about the immigration, the Home Office. You have, remember, I talked about this. You have a certificate of sponsorship, COS, from your employer with information about the role you have been offered in the UK. So this is the most important part in terms of the visa application, the COS, the certificate of sponsorship. So they're saying you have to do a job that's on the list of eligible occupations. Another important thing. So when you're applying for jobs, I'll say this: make sure you take note of the minimum salary range for each job that you're applying for. So let me just say, if possible, apply for anything that is within the range. We'll look at it in this visa. Apply for something that is within that range, because for the most part, if you apply for something that is lower, you may not be given a certificate of sponsorship because it may not fall within the required amount in terms of the salary, right? So they're saying the specific eligibility depends on your job. So let's click here to see in terms of the jobs that they're talking about. So on the job itself, this is what they're saying. You must meet all the following requirements to be eligible for a skilled worker visa. So number one, they're saying your job is eligible for the visa or for this visa. You'll be working for a UK employer that's been approved by the Home Office. You'll be paid at least, this is what I was just talking about, the salary. You'll be paid at least the minimum salary rate for the type of work you'll be doing. Now, the minimum salary they're saying could be 38,700, or they're saying the going rate for the type of work you'll be doing. So they're saying the minimum salary may be lower if so. There are some exceptions. As always, there's always exceptions to the rule. So, for example, if you're extending the skilled worker visa, it means you have a salary already. So likely they may continue on the same salary, or you're updating it because you have a new job or an employer. So you can click these if you fall in these categories. But if you don't, it means you don't even have to click. So they're saying your employer must make sure that your job pays at least the minimum wage and follows the UK rules for how many hours a week you work. If your employer does not do this, your application will be refused. So this is very important as well. So to check if your job is eligible, each job has an they're calling it a 4-digit occupation code. So you can be able to go and check that out. You can click here and then go check the codes and everything. Check if an occupation code is eligible for the visa. You can click here and then you'll be able to go and check for the skilled worker or eligible occupation and codes. Let's just click it for the sake of this video. So as you can see, these are the occupation codes, and then it's showing you the eligibility here. So for example, if you want to apply as a counselor here, it means you wouldn't be allowed to apply for this skilled worker visa. But I don't think you want to apply as a counselor. It means it's not sponsored. But if you want to apply for a CEO, for production managers here, finance, marketing, we're getting yes. So if you look at the far right, where the mouse is hovering, this is saying these are positions that you can be able to get a sponsorship for. So bank manager, finance director, insurance manager, accounting, we're talking about head of communications, charity director, and all these that you're seeing that have a yes here. It means these are positions that you can be able to get a sponsorship for. So guys, as you can see, the list is so long, right? You can just see. So you can go check. Let's see what else has a no. Let's just see what has a no. But almost everything is having a yes here. But you'll find a few no's. As you can see, we're talking about IT managers, IT project managers, almost everything. So you have to check this list if you're applying for jobs here in the UK, just to be sure if your job can be sponsored in terms of a visa. So we'll have to go back. So yeah, as you have seen, most jobs you can be able to be given a certificate of sponsorship. So the salary itself, we talked about the minimum. So if you're looking for a job, make sure you find something that is around or above this amount, 38,700, going above. That would be a sure bet for you to be able to be given a sponsorship, because if it's lower, likely they may not go ahead. So they're saying if you work in healthcare or education, they're saying there are different salary rules if you work in some healthcare or education jobs, where the going rate is based on national pay scales. So there's always exceptions to the rule. So if you have applied, let's say, in NHS or in the education sector, likely some of these things may not apply to you in terms of the minimum salary range, right? Sometimes you can allow if you are being paid less, so they're giving you this explanation to say if you do not meet the usual salary requirements and you do not work in healthcare or education, you might still be eligible if your salary will be at least 30,960 pounds. So just make sure you're applying above this one. The best bet would be for you to apply for anything above 38,700, but you can also choose to apply for things that are within 30,900. And you can check here when you can be paid less. I think we already talked about this. So if you want to check the list of approved employers, you can also check here. You'll be able to see all the list of licensed sponsors. So that's another way to look for jobs here in the UK. If you want to find a skill breaker job, you can go and download this list, the one that I've just downloaded, the one that you can see here. And then you can just look for organizations and then apply for the jobs from these organizations, right? So that's it. I was opening the whole. So this is a data for companies that sponsor the visas. So you can see it's just a lot. It's just a whole lot, a whole lot, a whole lot. So yeah, you can go check, right? So back to this page. So or we're on when you can be paid less, or if you already have a job or anything else, okay, you can go check that. So when you're applying, you may also need to prove that you're able to speak English. Myself, I did not, mainly because I had already applied for a visa before applying for this visa. So initially, I had already proved that I'm able to speak English. So which means if the first visa application was successful, I don't have to prove it again. It doesn't mean that I've forgotten speaking English within the period of time that I am applying for the second visa, right? So but you may still have to prove that. So you can do the IELTS test, or you can find ways of proving it. There's different ways. I think you can go watch the previous video on the education one that I talked about different ways of proving. What else do we have here? So how much does it cost? So when you apply for a skill breaker visa, you need to have enough money to, the first one, to pay the application fee. The standard fee ranges from 719 to 1,639 pounds, depending on your circumstances. This is the most important part. You have to pay the health care surcharge known as the IHS. This is usually around 1,035 pounds. Now the tricky part is when you're applying for a visa, you have to apply. You have to pay this IHS fee depending on the number of years that you have. Now, if your visa is, let's say, 5 years, it means you have to do this amount times the number of the plus the number of years on your visa. Let's simply do calculation here. Calculator, right? So we have that was 1035 times 5 years. It means you need to have around 5,175 pounds. Sorry guys, so yeah, before just one thing. So I put my Google Chrome in Kitumbuka. That's why here you're able to see Vyaku Gal whatever. Vituzi, yeah. So I put it in Kitumbuka, that's why it's showing this. But anyway, so let's go back here in case you wonder what languages are. Yeah. So let's continue. So you need to also prove that you can be able to support yourself when you arrive in the UK. You usually need to have at least 1,270 available unless you're exempt. Now, the exemption here comes in when your employer writes in the certificate of sponsorship that they will maintain you. So if they say they'll maintain you, it means you are good to go. But if they didn't say they'll maintain you, then you need to have this money. Myself, I didn't have to prove this because I was my organization said they will maintain me. So when I came, they were able to support me for the first few months before I found my feet. So yeah, so the visas could range from 3 years to 5 years. So If you're applying from outside the UK, the standard depends on whether you'll be in the UK up to 3 years. That's more than 3 years. So myself, I paid the one that is more than 5 years because I was given 5-year visa. So I paid, I think it was a little bit lower than this. The prices have just gone up recently, but it was lower than this. So, yep. The one to support yourself, I've already talked about this. Else? Yeah. All right. So what else do we have to check? So let's look at the documents that you need. So you need a certificate of sponsorship. I've already talked about this. You need proof that you can be able to speak English. I've talked about this. This one is obvious. You need a valid passport, your job title, and annual salary, because you need these when you're applying for the visa. But these will be in the COS document. Your job's occupation code, we checked that already. The name of your employer and their sponsor license number. This will also be on the certificate of sponsorship. And yeah, other documents that you may need. If you have, you may have to do evidence that you have enough funds. The one that I talked about, you may just have to show your bank statement. The other one is to do with dependents. If you have dependents, you may have to have proof. You may also have to do a tuberculosis test. That's a TB test. The test, the certificate is valid for 6 months, so you may want to do it within that period. What else? A valid a valid ATAS certificate if your employer tells you that you need one. So this one depends if your employer tells you. You need a criminal record certificate. I was able to get mine from Lilongwe, from the police at Area 30. But yeah, you need, what else do you need? Yeah, pretty much this is what you need, but you can go check, for example, if you have a partner and children, you can go check here to read a little more about it, just for you to have an idea. What else would you want to read here? Not much. So yeah, so this is, as I said, the amounts changed. Initially this was the minimum, but now it's changed to the one that we just talked about, the 38,700. But yeah, so that's it, guys. And I hope you do find this video helpful. As I've said, I was just trying to go a little bit deeper in this video, just to show you what you need in terms of the skill breaker visa, or for you to prove that you should, or for you to prove that you can be able to apply for this visa. I hope you do find this video helpful. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.